Hi guys, I'm Tim and this is Olly.
Hi.
And we're here at Big Bear Bikes, and today we're talking about winter training and what you can do through this winter to keep your fitness up and keep that cycling motivation going. Olly, I guess just to kick us off, indoor training, you're a big fan.
Yeah, massive.
But what is it?
For me, it's a way to sort of continue a bit of fitness when there's like adverse conditions, or sometimes if you don't have much time. It's just been ideal for me.
Okay. And how did you get into winter training?
Well, it originally started where I actually came off my bike. I'd gone out on my road bike, hit a patch of black ice and had an accident. So basically I needed physiotherapy to recover from that, and a suggestion from a couple of my colleagues about getting some indoor training done, just to get some movement done as opposed to strength. And that's basically the step that then took me on to getting a bit more addicted to it, and just having something that if I can't get out my bike, something that feels as good.
And the idea, I suppose, of like trainers and rollers, turbo trainers and rollers, that's not new, is it? They've been around for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
But I think and I've done both of those things, but I think one of the challenges is just staying motivated doing those things. And rollers, to be fair, unless you're capable and confident, quite a challenge getting on and off unless you do it on a regular basis. So for finding something that you can do indoors that's easy, that's enjoyable, that keeps you fired up, it's evolved, hasn't it? It's a different thing today.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely something that's easy. It needs to be a nice, easy go-to thing to set up, so that you can get sort of straight on it. But something that can kind of, replicate what you're doing. You genuinely feel like you've done the miles. Some time ago, I got myself just a standard exercise bike, and someone said to me, that will become a clothes dryer. And it did. I needed just something else just to be able to make it more immersive and really get into it. I was never into any of the sort of figures that these things can produce, and you don't have to be. You can watch a film whilst you're doing it if you want to, but if you do get involved with one of the apps, such as Zwift, it's just great because you can start looking at your metrics and doing a bit of light training. You can take it as serious as you want to.
So we'll come on to Zwift actually, but you started talking there about, actually for you it was about recovery initially. So my question really is, who is this for? What is indoor training for? What kind of people are getting amongst that world?
Yeah, definitely. I think people who basically want to have year-round riding, potentially they may be fair weather riders, if they've got a lovely carbon road bike that they don't want to get out in the salt and the grate or the farmer's muck, it's something that's absolutely ideal. With whatever riding you're doing, you are tending to keep a weather eye on the horizon. So sometimes it's a big disappointment when you've got a lot of rain, and we've had loads just recently. So for me, just to be able to jump on that and think, brilliant, I'm keeping a level of fitness. I can come out spring when the weather's great, feeling ready to go if the weather doesn't improve.
And I'm a bit precious about my bike. I mean, you talk about that, like in an ideal world, I'd have a summer bike, a winter bike, or an all year round bike, but a really decent set of summer wheels and then maybe some winter wheels. But even then, I come back from a wet weather ride or a muddy ride and my clothes are absolutely covered. My bike, I'm desperate to clean it down, because if I don't clean it straight away, then you get obviously the corrosion from the salt on the road, and it's just it becomes more than just the bike ride that it is in the summer.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, if it's something that's precious, but I mean, at the end of the day, what have we got our bikes for? And certainly in winter, I also do like to get out my mountain bike and keep away from the roads and the salt and the grit. But it's not always accessible. The days are shorter, and as great as night riding is, it's not something that you'd maybe necessarily do regularly just to maintain a level of fitness. So even if your indoor training is there for something in between the rest of the riding, it's just keeping you for yourself. Yeah.
So you mentioned their recovery. You talked about people just trying to maintain a level of fitness.
Yeah.
I think I'm right in saying that there's a competitive element to Zwift, isn't there?
There is, and it's not necessarily against other people at all, because that would be enough, I think, to put a lot of people off.
Right.
But it can be if you want to. But for me, I use it a little bit like I use Strava, and I'll really just tend to compete against myself, but it's very much a how are you feeling on the day, because just to know that you've done something and you've gone on and you've done 10, 15 miles or more, you've done it with indoor training, you really do work a bit harder and feel great for doing it.
I think aside from that, and sort of not to get too heavily into this, but obviously the whole mental health thing, people talk about cycling and how good it is for you just to get out in the fresh air and clear your head, but actually that physical exertion full stop is good for you. So as we're now into kind of like the winter months, the darker night, nights, the poorer weather, the chance to still exert yourself, just really, really good to burn all that off and socialise.
Yeah, too right. So, you know, with Zwift, for example, so I've got, you know, colleagues at work, Mike, for example, you know, we've paired up before on Zwift, where there's been like our avatars, and it's been quite a funny experience, but literally virtually pedalling together, him in his own.
Who won?
It was a friendly ride.
I don't believe you. All right, so if people are sold on indoor training as a thing, what are my options and what kit do I need?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are loads of options, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to cost the earth at all. You know, you can get turbo trainers. If you can get one that is a direct mount rather than rollers, you will get a bit of a better experience, really. And certainly, you know, getting a turbo trainer that has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities, enabling you to be able to link up to the likes of Zwift or any other indoor app like that. So yeah, turbo trainer and a bike to put it on, or, you know, like something like this, if you're able to, you know, have a bike that is just, you know, permanently set up to your own measurements, like your own road bike, for example. You know, it's a straight go-to thing to be able to do that. You know, other than that, and subscribing to an app, which doesn't cost much at all, everything but a helmet, you know what I mean? With the addition of fans, loads of water, and if you are going to have it indoors, a setup like this, a good mat underneath, because you will sweat loads.
So obviously when we buy a road bike, we encourage bike fits at the shop, and people definitely, comfort's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've mentioned that I can have my bike mounted on a turbo trainer or rollers, but if I'm buying something like this, so this is from Tax, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell people about this, and actually how can people get that perfect setup? So
this is a Garmin Tax Neo bike, and there's basically lots of adjustments to be made. Obviously there's reach can be adjusted at the handlebar and at the saddle. You've obviously got your height adjustment just to mimic your seat post, and height adjustment just to adjust your stack height as well. It's also possible to set your crank length as well, you know, whether it's 16.5, 17 or 17.5, to really fine tune it. Because if you can, you know, go through winter or through the bad weather on a bike that is just a copy of your own bike, it just feels very natural to jump back on it and get straight on it. And
easy to put those miles in.
Well, absolutely. And if it's set up properly as well, to be able to transfer your power efficiently and get the most out of it, you know.
So we've talked about the bike, and we've mentioned Zwift a couple of times, but there are other apps out there, right?
Yeah, there are, and you know, I've got friends using other ones too. I mean, something that you'd get standard with a Tax Neo bike is basically a freebie for a certain amount of time to Tax Premium. That's their service, and you'll see there that it's almost like video footage that you're looking at, as opposed to animation like what Zwift offers. And they all have their pros and cons, but they're equally as immersive. So you can really just switch off and actually just focus on what you're doing, as opposed to I'm in a garage or I'm in a room, you know. I think
as well, you know, from a Zwift into what is it Watopia, which is like their dream world, is it almost?
Yeah, that's it. So I mean, there's they do a few sort of quirks to various places. Central Park in New York has got a series of glass tunnels that will actually enable you to climb to a certain height and look sideways or down on skyscrapers. You know, Watopia is made up land, but it will encapsulate certain other areas of the world. It'll sort of teleport you through to Alpe d'Huez, which they call.
Say, if you want to, you can actually go and actually replicate the routes around the world. The famous climbs,
absolutely. Do the famous climbs. Know you've done them. And you know what's fantastic about these is, you know, this for example is magnetic as well as a belt-driven system, and it also had road feel as well. So if you are going over rougher ground or you're going over like a wooden boardwalk, you can actually feel that you're pedaling over that. But most importantly, it does sort of offer really good resistance when you're doing a climb.
So so moving on to that then, actually. So I have ridden rollers and I've ridden an old school turbo trainer, but I've never done the Zwift thing yet at all. So when you talk about that, replicating those environments, replicating those climbs, how real is it, and how beneficial is this kind of training when you then back out on the road?
I'd say massively. I think one thing it can't replicate, which is I suppose a good thing, is your traffic. The roads are completely clear and there's no risk of collision or anything like that. Such a device like this is really well grounded. It's not going to topple, so you really can stand up and pedal hard. It is just, yeah, superb. You're not going to be subject to headwinds, so that'll be a big thing on the road side of it. So that's something that, yeah, when you get out there, your winds are going to be different, but you sometimes wish that you do add more, hence the fans and the addition of maybe an extra fan just to cool you down, not slow you down.
Totally. Well, sign me up for being cooler and not slower. I'm off for that. So we've talked about the bike, we've talked about the equipment that you need to get going, but I put you on the bike prior to shooting this video. You get this footage we've got. So you've just done it, and you're wearing your normal cycling gear.
Yeah, I am, because it's technical clothing. Your bib shorts are padded. Your clothing's designed to wick away sweat, because you will get really hot on something like this. So it is advantageous that you don't actually have to wear a helmet. Your avatar might do. Yeah. Mike's doesn't. Mike's got a Mohican in his, so I spent half the time laughing. Cool. But also as well, you'll have seen that I was clipping into my SPD SL pedals. So I've had customers come in who have been a bit nervous about actually getting out and doing that. Yet they've got a turbo trainer as well. So I've said, hey, well, the best way to try and get into the habit of clipping in and wearing proper shoes so that your bike fit is much better is try on your turbo trainer first and then the big world, so that you're much more confident with getting clipped out for junctions and traffic lights and if you need to in a hurry.
How's this affect family life? I mean, have you not got this noisy bike in your house?
No, so it's absolutely super silent, but to be honest, I have chosen to put it into the garage. I've got the option then of an up and over door. I do tend to have it open because it heats up really quickly. And it does, because it's such a sort of typically a short exercise. I might be on it for an hour as opposed to going out for much longer on my other bikes. That I can pick time. So I did get out of bed this morning at 5:10.
5:10?
Yeah, got on it at 5:30, did an hour, and then got ready for work.
5s in a day, Olly.
So, but that isn't. It's not always like that at all. Others will know me for going on late at night, but it's just there just to jump on, because you're not dictated by the daylight or bad weather. So it's great.
Okay. So top tips. You've been doing this for a while now. You've done it for recovery. Now you're doing it for fitness. You're going to keep on doing it. What have you learned riding indoors that other people could benefit from?
Well, definitely give it a go, because if you do subscribe to, say, something like Zwift, it's brilliant that you can really switch off. The mental health side of it is great, and that's a big reason why I enjoy biking so much. Really get your ducks in order when you're on your bike. But tips I would give to people definitely is have a towel. If you are going to put it on the carpet, get the proper mat for it, because you will be wiping up a puddle of sweat at the end of it. Drink loads of water. Now, I haven't just got water in there. I've actually got some Torque pink grapefruit energy, because you will need your electrolytes, something to sort of replace what you're sweating out, but also something to give you a boost whilst you're going as well. So plenty of water. Now, my phone's always on hand as well, because it's also displaying another part of Zwift, but I have been known to phone the kids halfway through a ride to see if they could bring me more water as well, which is advantageous.
I love that story of your son sarcastically running alongside you.
Yeah, brilliant. I really felt like I was doing a proper tour then,
Brilliant. So I guess there you have it, guys. Hopefully, Olly's experience has helped you get a bit of an understanding of what indoor training is all about, giving you some options around the apps, the kit that you're going to need, some top tips on how to get the most out of your riding and make sure you enjoy it ultimately. But I guess if you want some more advice, then come down to the shop.
Come and see us in the shop. We're happy to talk about it. This is not about being an elite rider. It's just about keeping some level of fitness, enjoyment. You do have a laugh. There's a lot of people doing this out there, and it's just a great thing to do.
Love it. Thanks, Olly.
Cheers. Nice one.